Welcome. INFOhio is happy to be bringing you today's breakout session. Dig into digital reading with best practices to engage K-5 students in digital text. As a pre-recorded session, please revisit this session as often as you need to support your work with your students in the classroom. Today, we'll be talking more about the quality digital content and tools that are available to you at no cost from INFOhio to support Ohio's learning standards. The bit.ly you see here on the screen will take you to a document that will provide you with support as you work your way through the content. My name is Mary Rowland, and I'm a professional instructional specialist with INFOhio. But before coming to INFOhio, I taught high school English for 14 years, and I'm really excited to share with you today some of my favorite INFOhio resources for grades K through 5. So let's get started. INFOhio is Ohio's pre-K-12 digital library. We provide premium digital content and web tools at no cost to Ohio's teachers, students, and parents. We love hearing from you and continue to use your feedback to make improvements. Please open this survey and fill it out at the end of today's session. You can scan the QR code that you see here on the screen, or you can find a link to the survey in the document. So today we're going to take a look at a few of the resources that support Ohio's learning standards. We'll explore specific examples of content and how it can be used in instruction. And we'll also talk more about helping students become better readers of digital text. If you are new to INFOhio, here are some key steps to get started. First, start at infohio.org. Check the top left corner of the screen to make sure that you are logged into the INFOhio website. You will probably see your school or district name or INFOhio statewide user. If you are not logged in, this button will be red. Click it and do a search for your school or district name to find your password. For today's presentation, we'll start on the K-5 page, and we'll explore some of the resources that are applicable for students in grades K through 5. There are many resources available to support teaching and learning, so let's take a closer look at several of these quality resources. Bookflix is a scholastic ebook platform with over 140 pairs of fiction and nonfiction titles. The titles are popular books. These are the same books that students will find on their library shelves. Fiction books are told in a video format, where nonfiction titles are told in a more traditional ebook format. You can use the Apple and book icon to find teacher resources for titles in Bookflix. You can find the Lexile reading level, you can find the guided reading level, and also find more facts about the book from these pages. You can also send individual pairs directly to Google Classroom, and this is a great way to share a pair of both a fiction and a nonfiction ebook pair with your students. Bookflix has several titles in its collection that are suitable for upper primary grade students as well. Activities and extensions accompany the titles along with more information about the author and the illustrator. And you can find these activities and this information in the left column. And again, to access the lesson plan for each book pair, click on the Apple and book icon in the top right corner. The lesson plans include objectives, assessments, and curriculum correlations. Capstone Interactive is one of INFOhio's newest resources. It has a library of over 800 unlimited use ebooks, so that means that every student can be on the same book at the same time. Content is focused on science and social studies for grades 3 through 6. Books can be filtered by grade range, guided reading level, AR, or even Lexile level. And this really helps teachers to identify the grade level text that's the best fit for their students. Books have an optional read aloud feature to help support students at all levels. And you can see that option down there in the lower left corner of your screen. Another feature is that many of the multi-use ebooks in this collection have a glossary tab. And from here, students can click the glossary tab to find domain-specific words and their meanings. Worldbook Early Learning is a collection of digital content for early learners, and it includes ebooks, short informational videos, educational games, songs, and stories. This is a great resource for pre-K through second grade students. Worldbook Kids is an encyclopedia with articles, videos, images, and Worldbook Kids includes activities and games to help reinforce facts and skills. Be sure to check out the printable activities that you can send home for family interaction. Worldbook Kids is appropriate for students in grades 3 through 5. Explora is a database with magazine and newspaper articles, videos, and ebooks. Explora grades K through 5 includes titles from popular magazines such as Sports Illustrated for Kids, National Geographic for Kids, Highlights, and all of the Scholastic classroom publications. Older primary students can use Explora grades K through 5 to search for informational resources. So the common link between BookFlix, Worldbook, Explora, and Capstone is that each of these resources has quality text available for instruction to support the Ohio's learning standards. But what's even better about this online text is that it is authentic. Authentic text is text that readers find in the real world. Newspapers, websites, magazine articles, books, and even social media. It is not text that is created to be read and tested on. Authentic text lives, changes, and influences how we see the world. This authentic text is the key to producing students who are able to read, comprehend, synthesize, and create for lifelong learning. So let's talk a little bit more about students and reading online. So how many of you have heard this from someone? Kids know everything about technology. My son's only 5 and he knows more than I do. What are your thoughts or your reactions when you hear someone say this? If you're watching this with a colleague, pause and turn and talk. So kids are proficient when it comes to using technology for entertainment and social interaction, but tech comfy is not the same thing as tech savvy. And it does not guarantee that their proficiencies will automatically grow into new and sophisticated literacies or online competencies. For many youth, their motto seems to be "In Google we trust," or at least according to a new study coming out of Northwestern University. This study explored the savvy web skills, or lack thereof, of college students as it relates to their ability to search and determine the credibility of their search results. Myth number 2, print will eventually become extinct. People read everything on devices now. What are your thoughts when you hear someone say this? Again, if you're watching this with a colleague, pause to turn and talk. Research shows that most people still prefer print books and will choose print over digital if they are given a choice. A Scholastic reading report shows that 65% of students ages 6 through 14 will always want to read print. And a Marachi study reveals that 72% of college students want the print textbook over a digital textbook. In 2019, a Pew Internet research study uncovered that 65% of adults who read regularly prefer print. Myth number 3, reading on the screen is the same as reading in print. Your thoughts? Your reactions? Again, take some time to pause and turn and talk. So the research shows that when we read online, our practice shifts. In her article, Being a Better Online Reader, Maria Konakova found that readers tend to engage in more skimming behavior when we read online. We scroll, which means we tend to read more quickly and as a result, less deeply than when we would typically read if we're moving page to page in a print book. People also tend to browse and scan. They look for keywords and they tend to read in a less linear, more selective fashion. And as a result, we become tired from the constant need to filter out hyperlinks and other possible distractions. Our eyes grow fatigued from the constantly shifting screens and layouts. And this is true for e-readers as well as computers. So to support 21st century skills, it's important that educators provide scaffolding to help students become better users and readers of digital content. INFOhio's best practices for digital reading was developed for this reason by teachers, librarians, and education professionals. It is available on the INFOhio website, and a link is included in this document for this presentation. So let's take a look at some key takeaways from this document. I've pulled out some key ideas from the best practices document. So let's take a little pop quiz to test your knowledge when it comes to supporting readers using devices. Question number 1, adults should use digital text in lessons. And the answer here is true. Using digital text along with modeling effective strategies for engaging with that text will support our students as they become better readers of digital content. Question number 2, using multiple forms of media with students is too confusing and should be avoided. The answer here is false. Reading digital text, examining graphs and images, or using a streaming video to introduce or supplement the instruction of a difficult concept, these are all great ways to use multiple forms of media with instruction. Question number 3, students need teachers to model how to navigate reading platforms and use the interface features for learning. True or false? The answer here is true. Remember, tech comfy is not the same thing as tech savvy, and modeling is a great teaching strategy. It's just as applicable when teaching students how to read as it is for teaching them how to engage with digital content. Question number 4, bimodal text is helpful when reading on the screen to build comprehension and fluency. And the answer here is true. Bimodal text allows students to hear the words as they are being read when using read aloud features and software. So our ultimate goal is to create lifelong learners who can read in any format, consume media successfully, and determine whether it's reliable, accurate, and factual. And I call this reading in the digital wilderness. Social media, blogs, memes, online news, media bias, all of these things contribute to the briars and brambles that can trip up students as they try to navigate their surroundings. A Pew Internet research study revealed that 64% of Americans found that made-up news caused a great deal of confusion. And if adults struggle to determine the validity of information, then our students are going to experience the same frustrations. So before we can send any student into the digital wilderness, we need to prepare them, our digital natives, with the right tools to be successful. And with intention and purpose, we can prepare them to thrive in a digital wilderness and help them avoid that cognitive overload so that they can engage in real learning with digital content. So starting now is the key to making sure that we develop students who can become adults, who can read, think, and interpret. Think about your current students, and in 5 years, what do they need to know now in order to be responsible users of digital text and good online citizens? Integrating quality digital content and using technology now with students is important. So let's take a look at how we can use digital text from INFOhio combined with best practices for digital reading to meet Ohio's learning standards. So today we're going to search for resources to support the college and career readiness standards, our anchor standards for reading. And particularly, we're going to look at this one. Key ideas and details number 1. Across the curriculum, we want students that can read closely to determine what a text says. We want them to be able to make logical inferences from that text. We want students that can cite textual evidence when speaking or writing to support the conclusions they have drawn. And I also want to bring in some best practices for digital reading. So let's take a look at how we can accomplish those goals. Capstone Connect is a database which connects educators to standards-aligned instructional materials for Capstone Interactive eBooks and PebbleGo Next. Instructional materials can be searched either by standard or by title. So let's do a search by standard. The first thing we're going to do is limit the search result by subject area and grade level. This will generate a list of standards and benchmarks. Then we can select a benchmark that we want to focus on from that list. In this example, you can see that I selected the benchmark, and the benchmark I selected is up here at the top. I want to help my students learn how to read closely. I want to help them make text inferences from the text. I want to help them use textual evidence to support the conclusions that they have drawn from the text. So to do that, Capstone Interactive generated a list of results, and this list of results include articles from PebbleGo Next. It include ebooks from Capstone Interactive ebooks, and it also included instructional materials. But I can limit this result list to just instructional materials by selecting instructional materials here from the content limiter. And in my results list, which I have here below, I found an educator resource for the ebook American Indian Stories and Legends. This is the same ebook that we looked at earlier in this presentation. So let's take a closer look at this educator resource. So this educator resource is a lesson plan for using the ebook American Indian Short Stories and Legends with students in the classroom. And at the top of this lesson plan, I can see that my lesson objectives are clearly stated for me. If I scroll down further through this lesson plan, I see that it includes instructional activities and graphic organizers for using this ebook in the social studies classroom. And if I scroll even further in the lesson plan, I see that this lesson plan also includes instructional strategies and activities for using the ebook in the language arts classroom. And if we take a closer look at the Making Connections section of this lesson plan, we can see that this lesson plan asks teachers to teach students to read closely by making connections between the myth in the collected text and the nonfiction sections that accompany each myth. The lesson plan also includes instructions to the teacher to allow students time to discuss these connections with their classmates. Both of these strategies highlight the best practices for digital reading. And again, that includes that we provide opportunities for our students to engage, communicate, connect, create, and reflect when reading digital texts. And I can see that this lesson plan that I found in Capstone Interactive is going to help me bring that practice into my classroom when I'm using this ebook with my students. So with my lesson plan in hand, let's take a look at how I will share this ebook with my students. Remember, the Capstone Interactive ebooks are multi-use, so that means every student in my classroom can be using the same book at the same time. So from the Capstone homepage, I can limit my results by grade level. So I selected the grade 5 grade level limiter. And if I scroll down, I see the book, American Indian Stories and Legends. It's right there. So if I click on the book, it's going to open up this entry for the book. So as the teacher, I can read the summary to make sure that it's the right book for my students. I can get some more information about the book, including the publisher information. And if I like this book and I'm looking for books similar to it, I can check out more titles in this series. In order to share this book with my students, I'm going to click on the copy link button that you see right down here. And once I click on that copy link button, I can paste that link into any learning management system or Google Classroom. And this will allow me to share this ebook directly with my students. So now with my lesson plan in hand, my ebook in hand, I know I'm covering my learning standards, and I also know I'm bringing in some best practices for digital reading using this ebook from Capstone Interactive eBooks. So today's session focused on just one strategy for best practices for digital reading, but on this slide, you'll find more suggestions for what gradual release can look like for early readers, and this can help them to become better readers of digital text. Also, be sure to check out our parent page, which has links to various resources to help parents as they help their child with reading on the screen. Because we only did a really quick overview of the resources today, I do recommend going to INFOhio campus to boost your knowledge of how to use the resources and integrate them into your instruction. INFOhio Learning Pathways are self-paced online classes on INFOhio resources and tools, and they're a great way to earn contact hours. The K-5 Digital Content Learning Pathway has classes on resources that we talked about today, and there is also a class devoted entirely to reading on the screen with younger readers. Be sure to check out these classes for additional support on using INFOhio in your classroom or online. And if you want to stay connected with INFOhio and other users, then join the INFOhio community group on OpenSpace. You can navigate to openspace.infohio.org, click Groups from the top navigation bar, and then find our blue power icon under Featured Groups to join. I've also included a direct link to this group in the document. And follow us on social media. Send a tweet from your picture, send a tweet or a picture from your classroom or library showcasing your students using INFOhio digital resources. Social media is a great way to stay up to date on the latest from INFOhio. So you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And again, if you haven't already, just a quick reminder, please fill out the feedback form. We really do greatly appreciate your feedback and input. We want to support your work with your students in your classroom, so please reach out to us at support.infohio.org if you ever have any questions or need any help using INFOhio resources. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for choosing to spend some time with me today, and we hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.